I can.
There you are, my friend. Welcome to the Edge television broadcast.
Nice to be here.
What you drinking tonight?
Pepsi.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I never let people know what's in my cup.
And coffee. Both.
Well, hey, like I said earlier, I was talking to you. I said, hey, since you're in Canada, you feel free to say "hey" anytime.
But now you get the pressure on me to say it. I mean, I could have said it there, but now you got me thinking about it. So.
Well, no, you gotta let it flow, eh?
It's gonna slip out.
Okay, go slip out. Hey, Brian Bland, I really appreciate you coming on to the program tonight. You represent the Sasquatch Close Encounters Network of Interspecies Communication. Acronym there is SCENIC. Tell us about it.
Well, I'm a member of that group. I think the people in that group are more approach it more on a spiritual level. More of a connection with the Sasquatch level. We're not evidence people. We're not, taking casts, measuring the length of stride, that kind of thing. We're looking more for a connection with them, the people in that group.
Well, that is interesting. I think it sounds to me like of the Bigfoot sort of researchers out there, you guys are. It seems like you're trying to take it to another level, to actually communicate with them rather than say just analyze them to see, or even make effort to prove they exist. You seem to be going to a different level.
Well, I can just talk from personal experience. When they reach out to you, they connect with you. Like with a lot of these people, they will tell you the same thing. They will say that something happened and they were connected with by the Sasquatch. So. I don't know if it's a different level. I don't like to say levels. That's a competitive word, but they're teaching us things for whatever the reason we're discovering down the road. As time goes on.
Now, in British Columbia, is there vast acreages of forest up there?
Oh yeah.
Now, is there any old growth forest up there, Brian?
Yeah.
Because here in good old Indiana, we pretty much cut down every tree that there is. So basically, the center of the country is a big, vast wasteland of farmland. If there's a tree, we're down here cutting it up. But for a while there, I was down in the Ozarks, and even there, while there are vast forests there, it's consistent and constant logging of those forests. And so I don't even know how the Sasquatches could live there. If they are there. They have to be constantly on the move, and certainly, we were down there. My wife and I, we heard a story of somebody who lives there, and they said they saw one. So, evidently they are in that area, but I would say that their habitats is being rapidly depleted here in the States.
Yeah, up in BC, there's no problem. There is a lot of area, a lot of woods.
It's interesting too, as well, Brian. You sent us some pictures, and we go over some of these. We watched a movie. It was a Sasquatch movie, and it said based on true events. And the hut or the lair or however you describe it was almost exactly like some of the pictures that you took.
Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, I don't know if you ever watched the show. We do have two chats going. We have the viewers watching the program. Then we have two chats, one on our YouTube stream channel, one on our website. So we'll intersperse questions as we go by. And let me just get this one out here from Bigfoot Lives. I'm not sure which chat. I think it's on our regular chat. It says, have you ever nested with a Sasquatch?
No, but I've seen where they have nested. And I felt their energy around their nests and whatever, but no, I've never actually nested with them. No.
Do you think that they have a perception of what kind of person you are? Say if you're a hunter and you're going out killing animals all the time, they would know that, or do they sense fear? I mean, what's their perception of a human?
Absolutely, they would know that. From my experience, they can read your thoughts, and that's part of the glyphs actually too. And they can also place thoughts in your head. So And they would direct me to places they wanted me to go to for a good phase. Or like it seems like you go through phases in education with them, and then I would go to where they wanted me to go or whatever. So yeah, absolutely yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely yes to that.
Is there fear that anybody should have if they're in the forest that there are Sasquatches out there? Now, I remember when I was in the Appalachian Trail, man, they was talking about bears being up there, and I was kind of worried they was going to come through the high grass up there. But should anybody fear Bigfoot activity in their area?
I don't know. I know my own clan. I've never had a bad or even a negative experience. They've kind of brought me along, and they just give you what you can take at the time. Been very gentle, very loving, very supportive, very communicative. Oh, but that's a tongue fall, or a tongue twister, communicative. But anyway, yeah, they've been very supportive and whatever. And I can't say I've never had a negative experience myself, like I have heard. I mean, but they are human, so I'm not going to say that if you have an attitude or whatever, or you have an attitude to hurt them, or just a darkness around you, or a negativity or whatever, I'm not going to say that they would be receptive to you. I would generally say they would ignore you, but in certain circumstances, they might get somewhat aggressive. But you notice these people come up to tell the tale, right? Generally.
Mm-hmm. Well, what you just said there didn't slip by the audience. They said, "Did you just suggest that they're human?"
Well, a human hybrid or whatever. They've got a lot of human in them. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now I don't know what your view is on evolution or anything, but at what point do you think humans and I guess Bigfoot became hybrids? Was there a separate Bigfoot entity that merged with a human to create the Bigfoot we know now?
I don't know. I know that I feel that they were here before us, and we may have been, and I also think there's been some interbreeding with humans and Sasquatch over the years or whatever. There's lots of native legends about it or whatever. And when I said they're human, I mean a lot of the DNA was coming back as human early on, because I think is the mitochondrial, is that the female side? I'm not really into the science side or whatever, or the evidence side, but I think the female side is all human, is what they were finding. Mm-hmm. But they could not identify the male side, right? And I guess, like people like Melville Ketchum, people were doing that kind of stuff, but that's not what I'm into, but it's what I found that they're human just from, the way they interact, mm-hmm. Their intelligence, the way they can teach and whatever. So that's what I'm going on. But I mean, as far as the DNA and all that goes, well, I mean, that's out there. People know about that.
Mm-hmm. You said that they can teach us things. What is it that they can teach us?
Well, I mean, on a big scale, I mean, they're worried about the Earth, the way we're carrying on, with the Earth and whatever, and that we're, on the brink of disaster, possibly, the oceans, the forest, the air, whatever. They're teaching us, and I've had these teachings in a few really dramatic ways too. They're teaching us that we're all one and all connected, mm-hmm. that God, man, and the universe are all one and all connected. Mm-hmm. And they showed me that in a few ways. I could get into that if you wanted to.
Well, absolutely. As a matter of fact, Jade, our moderator, has a question. She normally moderates, but she's interested in this topic as well. He says, "Can you describe some of the interactions you've had with these creatures?"
Well, do you want to hear what the okay? Well, I'll talk about when whether the main lesson about the all one, all connected, and the feeling and the love of that or whatever. Mm-hmm. There was a female that I was kind of connected to, and she had a very floral fragrance, smelled like a sweet flower or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I knew who she was by her fragrance fit. And one day I smelled her fragrance, and actually the other two guys with me didn't really smell it that much, and that was because they can put out sounds or fragrances or smells or thoughts or whatever that are just for one person, basically.
Are you saying Are you saying a female put a scent out to attract you?
I don't think it was to attract me, just to let me know who it was.
To let you know that it was a female Sasquatch?
And specifically who it was, because they all have their own their own scent or whatever, right?
I don't know. I don't know, but a lot of people say that maybe it's the male has some kind of serious body odor. So I don't know. You're describing, that's something new for me. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I've talked to a lot of Bigfoot people that are interested in Bigfoot, and most of them say there's a nasty smell. You're the first one that said there was sort of a floral scent. So I'm glad they're trying to freshen up. I was going to bring out some underarm deodorant for them, try to help them out. Give them some kind of toiletries or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, gifting area, anything given from the heart, might work, right?
Well, it would be from the heart. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So when it comes to Bigfoot, I don't want to fight him. I want to make friends with the dude. We're going to come up in there, say hello to him. But so this Bigfoot, this female Bigfoot, tried to connect with you on some kind of level. Can you describe what level that was?
Well, it seemed like the whole clan, and they've kind of taken. One has stepped in and the other stepped back a little bit. They're like teachers or whatever. So she was teaching me a lot through the glyphs and whatever, and through different things, and thought placement, and then seeing what that thought was take place right before my eyes or develop somewhere down the road, and then bingo, I know why. Now it's like school with them, right? So they're coming in and out different ones and whatever, right? So
okay.
Did you want to get back to this lesson?
Yeah, let's get back to the lesson.
So anyway, so I said that the fragrance was so strong when I smelt it that my throat and my nose were actually burning. And so a little while later, I'm walking towards my car from a hike, and I heard this rustling in the brush, and I just knew it was her. Like, it's a telepathic kind of thing, do these kind of connections. You can also feel different individuals' energy, and which one is which. But anyway, I felt a rustling in the brush, and for some reason I knew it was her instantaneously, and I felt like a zap of love, like a love energy come at me. It was like instantaneous, overcome with this universal kind of love that was like nothing I've ever felt. It was like beyond anything I felt in 3D or whatever that I'm used to. It felt like connection, and there was a telepathic message or whatever, or a download in it too, like a big download of information, and it was about all one, all connected. Rocks, water, everything is all one and all connected God. And and not only did I get that information, I could feel it, and I was like weeping for like 20 minutes straight. And just all I could say was, oh my, oh my, oh my. It was like really powerful revelation, and it was a big turning point for me in that way, right? So that's really their big message is that we've got to raise our vibration and whatever, and move up to a different level or whatever. Because when I was in that state, you can't hate anybody, you can't have any kind of prejudices, or you can't do any of the lower vibrational things that keep us there as people. It's just petty stuff. You can't think about that. It really, honestly, was like that. And that's their message of how things will really change, is when we as people can evolve up to that state or whatever. Then we're not going to need all that negativity anymore. Does it make sense?
Well, yeah, it does. And you're talking about sort of a universal love, but and Brian, from what you say, it sounds like it touched you pretty deeply there. almost in a sort of a godlike way. Are you sure that it was a Sasquatch creature? Maybe not an angelic visitation, but are you pretty confident it was emanating from a Sasquatch creature?
Well, just about all my interactions has been with Sasquatch. So, and I heard the rustling in the brush. But, I think they're connected to many other beings or whatever, and working in conjunction with this kind of message. So, and they're shaped. They can present themselves in whatever form they want, whoever the messenger is, or whatever. So, I think it is, but as you move on, you're learning new things all the time, partner. You know that.
Okay. Well, absolutely.
Your perspective changes from one week to another sometimes, right? But I think it is, but with maybe some other influences in there.
So you're saying that whatever it was manifested as a Sasquatch creature, and you just said that it could manifest as other things.
Oh yeah, I've seen them manifest as golden eagles and different birds and stuff. And those are long stories or whatever. We could get into some of them or whatever. But when things are repetitive and things happen over and over again, patterns and seemingly magic kind of little things. You just start to understand what's going on, and then you understand it for what it is when it's happening.
Would synchronicities fall in that category, Brian?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't believe in coincidence too much.
No, I really don't either. I have a story that seems pretty simple on its face. My wife and I were driving in the Ozarks, and driving next to a field, and there's a horse by this field, and that horse turned his head, and I've never felt more like a animal looked at me directly as an intelligent being than I have ever. When I looked in as we were going, I looked right into his eyes, and he's looking right. It was like there was some sort of, I don't want to say maybe connection, I don't know, but now that's kind of on the friendly side. On the other side, we have chickens, okay, and there's been a couple foxes getting them. So one day I go out there. Here's that fox, okay? And I got a 6-foot fence around these chickens. He just jumped over it like it wasn't even there. But he didn't go around and hightail it out, Brian. He ran about 20 feet, turned around, sat down, looked at me. He was taunting me. He's thinking, I'm smarter than you. I'm faster than you. You're never going to catch me. I'm coming back for dinner. You know what I mean? So, you can have positive interactions, and I think there's a little sarcasm in that little fox. I thought he had me beat, and he knew it. And so, so you can go either way with that.
Yeah, the first part was really interesting.
As far as the horse?
Well, yeah, there's some. Yeah, like Sue, my girlfriend, had a deer running out at the time, just like it. I can't describe it. She would have to describe the story, and she's actually not even here right now. But just synchronicities and things that animals do, like they understand the moment when, like when we're sort of evolving as people, our vibrations are raising a little bit. The connection between us and the animals is pretty thin, or whatever. You can. That's exactly what you're talking about with the horse, and you see stuff like that happening.
Well, while I did ask you, can the Sasquatch sense fear and stuff? I guess that was sort of a loaded question, because I personally believe that animals can, in fact, sense humans' intent, whether they're evil or not. I've come to that conclusion a long time ago, just interacting with different animals. We'll get a couple more questions for Brian. It says, how come humans never catch a Bigfoot? I guess you're going to try to trap them. I don't know.
Oh boy. Well, I've only seen like 3 or 4, and was in the woods like almost every day. Same with. They're really hard to see. They're also interdimensional, or at least they can step from being completely visible into completely invisible. I've seen it happen. I've seen them appear in my room out of the thin air. They're way ahead of us, man. We're not going to catch them. And also, like I said, they know what you're up to before you even know what you're up to. Like they know where I'm going before I'm even there. So.
by the way, for our two chats, YouTube chat and our online chat, if anybody's seen or interacted with a Sasquatch, just put yes in there real quick. If you have, or you felt like there may have been one in your area, if you had that feeling, because I think, Brian, if you feel that something in the forest is watching you, would you agree with me that something probably is?
When I was a kid and whatever, and you have that feeling that everybody says you have that feeling something's watching you.
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect and knowing what I know now, whatever, I would say probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I, that story of the message or whatever?
Yeah.
For part 2, I was going to tell you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can we get to some pictures and I'll tell you because.
Absolutely. Ready to
okay.
roll. And I will.
This is pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out which picture it is. You have them, the pictures handy?
I do.
Okay, let's roll them out.
Well, here's picture 1, and let me rearrange myself out of the picture. I'll get up here in the corner, and I will take you out of the view so people can see. Okay, and we're going to go to picture 1.
I did have some of them marked, but yeah, let's.
Okay, all right. Picture 1, got it up.
Oh, do you want me to talk about picture 1 or the one I was talking about with the story?
No, you pick one out. You said if I got pictures ready to roll, and I do. So, you have a favorite picture?
Well, there's one in relation to the second part of that story about their big message.
Okay.
So let's move through the pictures, and I'll show you when it's there. I can't remember what number it is. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I got them all loaded 1 through 45.
If we can go through them fast enough, otherwise 45.
That's how many you sent.
Let's run through them fast, see if we can make it fast. If it's not going to work, then we'll go at it another way.
Well, I've got these pictures look good, so I've got them in the background right now. I don't know what you see, but I've got picture 1. You may flip through them. Can you see them?
Yeah, let's flip through them. I got a good
okay.
Good story with that one. Yeah, good story with that one. Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I did want to mark this one here. That looks like a footprint to me. Okay.
What, a human footprint?
Yeah. No, it looked like a Bigfoot footprint. Number 5.
Well,
but anyway, I'll keep going. You tell me when you want me to stop.
Yeah, keep going.
Like that one, like that one. Scared of that one.
Okay.
I'll tell you why later.
Yeah, we should go through some of these. Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, man. I got
a specific one. Yeah.
I've got questions and you got answers, so we're ready to roll.
Oh, okay. Back.
All right.
One. Yeah.
Right there.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'm looking at it from the perspective of somebody who's seen so many of these. I can see exactly. Or at least I could see it from a better eye. I mean, I could see how they make a couple symbols and two symbols and they make it look like to one thing or whatever. Like that to me is a pie. Can you see the pie there?
See the pie.
Bottom 2 sticks, like the legs, and then the.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Okay, so there's a pie, and then if you look at it, you tilt your head to the left or whatever, it's also a man, right?
Right, yeah.
It's like a pie-man combo glyph is what I call it.
That's what I thought it was originally. I thought it was like a stick figure.
Yeah. But the way it was presented to me when I seen it, when they led it to me, I saw the pie right off the bat, and I thought immediately, pie man. Because they customize these glyphs for you anyway, for the individual. That's how they'll teach me in particular with them. And,
So you're saying the Squatch created this specifically for your eyes because he knew you would understand what it was.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I'll tell you why. And remember the first story I told you about the love zap?
Yeah.
The all connected?
Yeah,
So this is another one of those big lessons. So there was a friend of mine, and they connect people in. They connect people, bring them in, and then they have the opportunity to learn from them or whatever too, and wherever it takes. But they do connect us all or whatever, the people that they want, and not by coincidence or whatever. As you know, we don't believe in that. So there was a young fella that I was taking into the woods, and he had a bunch of really great experiences too, right?
Okay.
Like he had mind speak pretty early. He had like amazing stuff happen, and I know they were happy that he was in there. And anyway, so he was very grateful to me. And there was a conference coming to town, to Vancouver, which is a big city where I live. And, you know, he's into all kinds of different things or whatever. And, you know, like conspiracy stuff. And yeah, he's into all the, I guess some people would say fringe stuff or whatever, but whatever. He's into a bunch of different things. And there were 4 different speakers. And he said, come on, I want to take you to this. And I said, I don't know. You know, I didn't really want to. It was pretty hefty cost, and my interest level was not up to what it was going to cost. And plus, it was a long, all-day conference. I thought, I don't know, I don't really want to go. But he insisted, and because he was grateful of what, you know, that I had taken him out in the woods and shown him some things, and I said, okay, fine, because I knew it was important to him, so I did go.
Okay.
So the first speaker is talking, and he's talking about pi, the symbol pi. And as he's talking about it, I was finding, like, for the last little while, and after that, pi glyphs in the woods all the time, like the pi glyphs. Like, not with the stick man or whatever, just the pi, right? Or whatever. You know, I was finding them all over the place. Like, when I'm showing you an example of a picture or whatever, I've got, like, hundreds or whatever, sometimes thousands of the same kind of thing. I'm just showing you, like, a few. So I'm looking at it from a much broader perspective.
You know, in a little way, it seems like that looks like Burning Man.
Yeah.
But so this.
But anyway, so
go ahead.
So he's talking about pi, and like I said, I'm finding them all over the place in the woods. So, and as soon as he started talking about it, clicked in. Okay, this is why I'm here. I knew immediately why I was there, and he's talking about pi being about, like, man-God connection in many different religious disciplines and whatever. And I apologize, I don't know exactly, but that was the gist of what he was talking about, that it was man-God connection was the pi symbol, important in many different religious disciplines. And so I knew, like I said, immediately why I was there, and I was pretty excited about that. And then actually the 4th guy was talking about something that Sue had on her mind that was very interesting too, and tied into this too. But I can't remember the exact specifics. But anyway, I was at that convention for a reason. They wanted me there, the Sasquatch people or the teachers. So the very next day, I have an urge to go to the woods, and I go to a particular place, pull out of my, get out of my car, and right within a few feet of my car is this glyph there, and it's a man and a pi. Man, pi. Man, God, pi, all one, all connected. They were answering me. That was their answer through a glyph. Personal answer.
Personalized message, like a tweet directed to you.
Yeah,
it's
like a tweet in the woods.
Yeah,
like a tweet in the woods. And I mean, and this happens all the time. So it's.
It seems to me
it's something they've done with me a lot. So it's.
Okay.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's like that is cool, man. I like that, like a tweet in the woods. See, I'm not into tweeting, and I don't even know what that is. Actually, I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how to text on my phone. To tell you the truth.
Okay, it could be a text.
But it's funny though. It is like a tweet in the woods, isn't it?
Is it possible that they use? And I see those are sticks. Do they ever use like weeds and make X's in the road or anything like that?
Absolutely. Stones. They will etch in the sand with their finger or with a stick. They'll use whatever. Yeah, they'll use whatever is available or whatever.
Let me. And speaking of that, let me see if I can flip through here real quick, because you've got one where it looks like somebody etched in sand. I'm not sure what that number must have passed it up. Let me go back here. Etched in sand.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's another one back there that I want to talk about, but yeah, we can talk about the one in Session Sand if you want.
Okay, let's see if I can find it first. I know I've got it. Let's see. Oh, by the way, okay, now this is scary. Are you saying this, a Squatch made this right here?
They can come right to your house. Like I said, they've come right to my house and left glyphs and stuff.
Wow.
They've actually materialized right in my room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We're not going anywhere. We're getting to that one right there. You say they materialized in your room.
Yeah.
A Bigfoot.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so obviously he was smaller than your roof, so he was okay. And did you have a conversation with him? You have some?
No. No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I was laying in bed.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
not in the state between sleep and awake and sleep. I had just laid in bed. I'm just laying there, just getting comfortable, and I saw a big wispy cloud of smoke appear right at the foot of my bed, like a big wispy cloud of smoke. Then all of a sudden, I saw like it got sharp in the middle of the cloud, like really, really, really sharp, like it, unfocused, sharper, sharper, sharper.
Yeah.
And then it was like a big Sasquatch fella, one of my clan guys, I figure, maybe RE, my clan leader.
Okay.
And he just stood there looking at me for 5 seconds or whatever, and then he just dissipated.
Wow. Didn't say anything.
No. No.
Wow, that is so interesting. I'll tell you what, I've got that picture, and I want to talk about this picture. It's 23 because I think we got a synchronicity just happened. Let me see. Let me get out of this picture.
Some stories I could share with you. They're just amazing, yeah.
Okay. Let me get to this one here. 23. Okay. In our YouTube chat, I saw somebody said Joey Splat said SB. They follow the biblical rules of digging a hole off campsite. But anyway, Joey Splat said SB, and is that not a SB written right in the sand, or am I looking at that wrong?
That's an SB, yeah.
Well, now isn't that synchronicity?
You mean Susan and Brian? You mean?
Oh, okay, you wrote that. Well, it's still synchronicity because
No. I didn't write it.
You didn't write that.
No. What's the synchronicity you're talking about?
In our live chat, in our YouTube chat, somebody used the abbreviation SB, which is, I think it stands for Southern Boy, but I'm just saying they said somebody wrote SB in the chat, and then I remembered that you had a graphic that said SB. I see that as synchronicity. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? It is. It is synchronicity, yeah.
So I look for that. I'm trained. I'm a highly trained synchronicity investigator.
You are.
And
you absolutely nailed that. No, that's true. That is synchronicity, because synchronicity can happen. A certain thing can happen, be totally separate from another person who experienced it or whatever.
Well, we ain't making rules. You just got to be ready when it happens, man. I'm ready. I'm always on guard for that synchronicity. But anyway, tell us about this graphic here. You say you found this written in the sand?
This is okay. Well, there's actually some more pictures, but you know what? I'm not. I think at the risk of interrupting the story, I don't really know if I should have actually put them back to back, but it doesn't really matter, I suppose.
Okay.
But I'll tell you the entire story. This is a very interesting story.
Okay, let's hear it.
Sue and I went camping at this little beach area by the river every year in the summer, at least once. And now that she's moved up closer to the border here now, we'll be doing it a lot, which is nice. But any event, we got out, like once a year because she was from Oregon at that time. And we would camp out of this little sandy place, beautiful, surrounded by mountains and, like starlit night. Just so peaceful, like right out, and nobody's around, like there's nobody around. You'll never see a soul out there. It's 5 or 6 miles deep in the woods, really secluded. It's not a campground. It's like you're camping way out back.
Okay.
So we got up one morning and we saw a glyph. It was an X. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
An X glyph. Are you familiar with that, or?
No, I'm just shaking my head like I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Okay. And it also, this will make sense more later when I show you some of the glyphs and what they mean to me or whatever. But it was an XA glyph, which is welcome friendship from the clan of RE. A is RE, that's the signature. They have their own signatures.
Wow. And
the X means friendship welcome.
Okay.
So this glyph was left right outside my tent in this secluded area, right?
Okay.
No brainer. I mean, I've even had them put a friendship welcome match right under my pillow when I've been sleeping out in the open way out there. So, yeah, they do some pretty funny stuff. Let you know they're around and with you. But anyway, so we saw this XA glyph in the sand right in front of our tent there when we woke up in the morning. But the thing is that part of it, the A portion of it, was etched into the sand where it looked like a large finger or a stick. So it was an XA glyph, but part of it was etched and part of it was sticks. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that was the first time I seen that, and I found it interesting. This is what I'm talking about, where they will put something in your head, and somewhere down the road, immediately or a year or so later, you will find out why. Mm-hmm. You'll connect it, which is the case in this. So anyway, we went away for a hike or whatever for a while, Sue and I. We came back, and the guy, probably the same guy who had left the glyph initially, came back and rubbed out the etching, and just the X, the X wood sticks were there. Now you got to remember, there's no other people around there. Mm-hmm. You don't see another person for 3 or 4 days when you go back there. Mm-hmm. So the very next year, we're there, and we decide we're going to go and walk off and to go to a place and hang out where we had hung out the year before. And we're headed there, and in the sand, we see a series of SBs, Susan and Brian. Is what I mean. Wow. Well, it didn't. At first I thought people, right? But SB, that's a coincidence. Then, after we thought about it for a little while longer, while it rains here every day, because it's like in a rainforest and it's in the middle of the mountains and it's nobody, you never see anybody. There was no SB love so-and-so, no heart, no arrow. It was too much of a coincidence. And not only that, there was a series of 7 of them leading directly to the place where we had been the year before, directly to where we were going. Okay? And then there was a rock stack right there. Ooh. Yeah. The other interesting thing is that Sue made me a beautiful pancake breakfast with a bunch of berries and whatever that we were picking. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Salmon berries, and we even had the syrup and some kind of wild blueberry, and man, that was the best ever. But the thing is that we were picking the berries and laughing, and Sasquatch love laughter and wow, lightheartedness. They love an open, childlike heart or whatever. They like that. They connect with that.
Well, he'd love to hang around with me because I'm always cutting up.
Well, there you go. They would like. Well, they would like you. They probably do like you.
And I'm going to hang around with you because I want some of the blueberry pancakes, man.
But the thing is that as it turned out, they were watching. They were watching us the whole time. Because they did those initials. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I thought about all the possibilities. I said, no way, that's them. But the other thing is that they were watching us pick the berry. So we're making our way bushwhacking through thorns and stuff and up gullies and down because we wanted to cut across to the path instead of going the way we initially went because it was kind of hard getting there initially anyway. Mm-hmm. So we want to take a shortcut. Pretty hard to get to the path where we were going, like we were scraped up and whatever. But we got to an open area, a big open area, and Sue says, geez, it looks like somebody was laying down there. Something big was laying down there. Wow. And right in the middle of that was a single pristine berry that was not squished or anything. It was like a person would have plucked it up and placed it delicately there. And it was placed right in the middle of where that depression or impression was, where somebody was lying down. And there were no berry bushes anywhere around it, like 360 around it anywhere. Yeah. It was hand placed there.
Well, that sounds like a level of connection that's pretty amazing. So you and Sue go out hunting for Bigfoot together?
Well, I'd say experiencing Bigfoot. I don't.
Yeah, I guess your word would be hunting.
My guys don't like it when I say I'm out there hunting them because we're kind of like family, right? So
besides that, man, if the
Bigfoot, you don't go hunting family, do we?
I don't know, but if the Sasquatch reads your mind and says, I'm going to go hunting Bigfoot, then he may not be your friend anymore. So
Well, I don't have that hunting Bigfoot attitude, so they know I'm their friend. So that's maybe that's one of the secrets how you do make friends with them.
Is Sue there?
Not right now, but if she comes back,
yeah,
she's kind of shy though too. But we'll see. She's going to try to sneak in, crawl underneath the camera here. But I'll see if I can catch her.
Okay, yeah.
She is actually out though right now. She's at the store or something.
Okay, well there you go. It was hunting Susan.
Yeah. Let's go through some pictures because I got some really
name a number, man. I got them all ready. What number you want?
Well, just go through them, and if I see something, I'll tell you.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll there. Let me get out of the picture. I'll put myself up in the corner, and there I am. And then I will take you out of the picture, and then we will run over here and get. Because I got questions on these pictures. All right, here's a picture of one now. I think this is all we started with earlier. This is some. I mean, are Sasquatch? Are they like nature artists taking natural items and creating art?
Yeah, yes, they are.
So
that's part of it. Yeah.
That's something we can learn. You said earlier that that you felt like you learned things from the Squatch. I almost have to apologize for the human race because animals don't treat each other like humans treat each other. Why is that? I went philosophical on you.
We're at a weird evolutionary stage or something because the Sasquatch, like when I said, when your vibration is higher, we can't treat each other like that. So we're at. I wanted to go back to that one.
Okay.
That one was really important. Actually, I have a story for that.
There it is. Let's hear the story.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The animals it's natural respect, like and the Sasquatch, they're at a higher vibration or whatever, and
they're just cool people.
What's that?
They're just cool people.
Yeah, and we're at, we're kind of in between, fumbling around and not really knowing where we are. So,
well, let me ask you, let me get a couple questions.
I almost swore there, but a dumb answer to that, I guess. But
all right, here, let me get a couple quick questions as we go through here. One,
I want to tell you about this one. But
okay, well, get it out. Get it out, man.
Get it out, man. I'm bound and determined.
Go.
Okay, now remember I told you what the XA is, friendship welcome.
You did.
This is like going to school in kindergarten all the way up to where I am now.
Okay.
It's a slow transition and learning and whatever, and like, okay, now I know why, because I saw something before, and then you put it together. It's too hard to explain in an hour or something, yeah, and you kind of have to experience it, right?
Okay.
But anyway, can you see that is an X and an A? Can you see how that's put together?
I see. I definitely see the A. And,
okay.
As far as
X goes, to the left
if you take that top stick, you can get an X.
Makes the A. Mm-hmm. If you look at it at a little bit of an angle, it's an X. See, it's an X and an A.
Okay, I can see that.
You can see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
XA is friendship welcome from the clan of RE.
Oh.
RE being the A. That's his signature. Mm-hmm. I know the signature, maybe 3 or 4 of them. Mm-hmm. So that's friendship welcome from the clan of RE. Mm-hmm. And look to the left of it. Mm-hmm. You see that tiny little twig or whatever? There's another XA, and it's woven right up into the top of it.
Yeah, I see that.
You see that, man? See how intricate that is?
It is almost...
On the left-hand side?
I do. It is almost exactly like the bigger one.
Yeah, and you go up from there. It's tucked up underneath, and then that's 3D, of course, right?
Yeah, good eye there. Good eye there. In other words, it was duplicated. Whatever it was, that could not have coincidentally created itself.
No. I mean, come on. I mean, I feel blessed that they've worked with me through these glyphs or whatever, and blessed me to be able to see so many of them. But I've seen too many of them to know that what they are and what's coincidence and what just fell and stuff like that. No, I mean, yeah. If anybody thinks that just fell like that, then you're welcome to it.
Good. Now I'm going to get my now I'm going to get my question in. Are you familiar with the artwork of Sibylla Irwin?
No, but if somebody wants to send me a link to her on my Facebook page or something, I'd like to look at it.
Okay. All right. She creates artwork for that. One more, and I'll let you get back to it. have you had any dogman encounters?
No.
Because
No.
your title, or the subtitle we have here is Interspecies Communications. Now, maybe more towards Sasquatch, but interspecies should include the dogman.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Sasquatch are the only ones that I know people who say they've connected to fairies and all kinds of different entities, dragons even or whatever. But personally,
I'm not connected to fairies. All right, you want to go to number 2?
what's that?
You ready for number 2?
No, I wanted to tell you about. There was one more amazing part to that first one.
Damn it! All right, go ahead.
So my friend and I saw this popped up in the sand, right?
Okay.
We looked to our left. Something caught our attention in the brush to our left.
Okay.
Just a few seconds after we saw it. So we looked to our left and we saw a 12-foot fella standing there, big and black, just standing there watching us, dead still. And then, so here he is. And then he, like on an escalator, the flat one or whatever. Is that an escalator? He just like walked like so smooth, like no head bob or anything, and almost supernatural, like, and it was like, and then he just like disappeared or whatever.
Wow, that's a ghost story right there.
Well, he wanted us to see that.
Mm-hmm.
That was Ari himself. He wanted us to see that or whatever. So and that was the first time I had actually seen him in the physical. But and it was, but when that happened, I realized it was more or less just like the cherry on top of something much bigger, because all the lessons and everything that they had given me up to that point was way more important than the actual sighting, even though it was like, wow, that was super cool.
So if you're out in the middle of a desolate forest, way far away from civilization, and you see something duck behind a tree, is it likely there is something behind that tree?
Well, I would think so.
Okay.
Unless you're doing, magic mushrooms or something, or.
Okay. Now we're going to number 2. What do you got? What's this here?
I didn't mean to be in bad taste there, but I mean,
we good.
If you see something duck behind a tree, most likely you've seen something duck behind a tree, right?
Okay. Yeah. Now this picture here also looks like artwork.
That's the same thing. That one made me break down into tears, because that was a personal, like, loving gesture for me, whatever, right? Because look, there's the bark. It's like a floral region, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You see, they place it on the bark. They utilize the fur.
That is placed. It appears to be placed on there.
Yeah, it is. It's obviously placed on there. They even got a little moss on there for, like floral kind of thing. It's almost like their floral shop kind of delivery kind of thing, like their version of it. And once again, it's got the X and the A there, the friendship welcome from the clan of Ari, right?
Now, I know Susan's not there, but would she ever get jealous that these Sasquatch females are trying to get hope to you?
No.
You sure?
No, they've never gone.
I mean, you talk about them pretty affectionately, so I'm thinking, maybe something's going on in the woods that you haven't really told us yet.
No, I talk about them all affectionately. They're all loving, affectionate.
Even the males?
Yeah, man. I mean, when the female that connected with me first, her energy was like, it felt like female though, right?
Yeah.
Her energy, but I could feel her energy. And I could tell it was her. It was distinctive, and it felt like a female. Just like a human female, the difference would be when I felt her father, because he kind of took over. And when I felt him, I said, "Whoa, back off, dude! Like, you are like too strong." It almost made me sick. And he did. He backed off right away. Like he did. Like, he listened immediately, and he did back off. And then then I got used to him or whatever. But it was quite a difference.
I wouldn't get used to Grandpa Sasquatch, man. That'd be some hard getting used to right there. All right, let's get to number 3. And is this you?
Yeah.
What are you doing out there? Hey, are you telling me those sticks were like that when you found those sticks like that? Those branch tree limbs?
Well, the fellow that I initially went out connected with, Sasquatch fellow out here in British Columbia, Randy Brisson, amazing guy, First Nation guy, and spiritual guy, connected guy, whatever. He I guess he would have been the first one to find that first, but Yeah, I had quite the amazing and thing happened there too. I was there the day before, and we were taking pictures of this structure, and we, for some reason, we had like 3 or 4 cameras. None of us could get a good picture of it. It was like we couldn't focus on it. It was like the energy. You've heard of energy around some areas where you can't take pictures.
Yeah,
that was definitely happening there. We could not get a good picture of it. I think eventually we did, after maybe 16 tries or something. We got something that you could at least look at. But anyway, so I was doing a little glyph thing with a friend of mine at Tom Cantrell out of Washington State, and we were talking, and I showed him this, which is one of their big glyphs. It's basically a big glyph, a big message. And he said, go back and see if those were pushed over or if they were, hauled in or whatever. And I said, okay, sure, whatever. So I went back there, and this was in my first 3 or 4 months, too, of being involved in it. So I had never really had any real heavy-duty experiences on my own without my friend Randy Brisson. But this day I did. So imagine me face the other way in this picture, and I was bent down, and I was looking at one of the ends one of these trees there to figure out if it was pushed over or carried in. And I start getting this feeling in my forehead that I'd never experienced before. Like, I've experienced all kinds of stuff like that since then, like mind speak or whatever you call it, or they're sensing them, like you can sense them in your third eye, whatever it was. It was, I think, the initial time I felt it. So I was thinking, like anything, when you first initially feel it, you think, what the heck is this? And it was like, what is going on here? Like, whoa. And like I said, I'm bent down or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I heard this noise, like 2 semis colliding in the woods, like bang, like the loudest crash you've ever heard. And I jumped up like, I might have been in the Olympics with the jump I made, I'm telling you. Yeah, at least the senior Olympics. My glasses flew off, and I stood my ground, and I laughed, because at that point I already knew there were people, and I already sensed that connection, like how I had to act around them. So I just said, that was a good one, guys, kind of thing. So I think it was a test of my mettle, maybe early or something. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but.
Okay. All right. Question time. Are Bigfoots responsible for the disappearance of hundreds of people in the forest?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think my guys would do that, but
and
as a matter of fact, they rescued me out of the woods. So
really,
they're also responsible for rescuing some people. But no, I can't say that. I don't know. I really don't.
Let me get one more question. We'll get back to the pictures. Why do some people have negative, creepy encounters with Bigfoot? Not everybody's out there getting loved up by a Sasquatch, Brian.
I know. Well, like I said, they can read your intention. They can read your thoughts. They can read your heart. They know who you are. And if you're a creepy kind of like ill-will person going in there, they're gonna.
So if I'm out there, they're gonna say, "Here comes a cosmic cowboy. He's all right."
He's all right, man. This dude's all right.
All right. Picture 4. What do we got?
Well, that's almost like artwork or whatever. I don't know what the stick beneath it means. Like, I don't pretend to know what most of the stuff. I do not know what it means because it's not for me. And I keep my understanding and keeps evolving too. But the top part to me is a 4, which is Fortuna. That's one of the clan members. And that's just his signature there.
By the way, I guess we should say, if anybody in the viewing audience sees one of these and it means something personal to them, then say something in one of the chats, and Jade can send it to us. Let's go to number 5. Now that's a big. What's this footprint here?
That was around the same time as that story I told you about when they were putting the etching our initials in the sand and stuff. That was the same trip. Their footprints are all over the place. In the sand around where we camped.
How big is that footprint?
I can't remember what that guy was. He wasn't. We see some little guys too. We see some little 4 or 5 inchers, and like most of them we see are juveniles. Like,
hold on there. Yeah. You say 4 or 5 inch Bigfoot?
Little babies, yeah.
Wow.
Like, and we've actually seen where the mother was walking beside it and looked like it picked a little guy up, carrying it for a while, and then put it down and was walking again. Like, yeah, we've seen like little baby ones, for sure.
I know.
And up to about 18 to 20 is what I've seen, and my friend has seen like 24, I think. This one here, probably a big juvenile, or maybe 16.
Okay.
You got to remember, I'm not out there with a measuring tape and taking plaster casts and stuff. That's not my. That's not my gig.
Were there footprints around it, or was this a single footprint by itself?
They can do a single footprint if they want, but I think this was I think there were a few footprints there.
Well,
you can see trackways, and you can see like single footprints too, in like inexplicable places. So.
Well, what's interesting, I mentioned this to a previous guest because somebody suggested that in their research that sometimes when you see a single footprint, you see a Bigfoot stepping into another dimension, and so you only see one footprint there. Now here we got. So I'm going to be looking at the forest floor a lot different after this interview, Brian, because I've seen some of these things and just thought it was just random. What do we got here? It looks like an A or a 4. What have we got going on here?
Just hang on a second. Somebody responded to me about that, or not responded, talked to me actually just yesterday about that. What you said about the footprints.
Yeah.
Somebody said that they go from one dimension, put their footprint down, and then take it out, and then they're back in their dimensions again, like just pranksters or whatever.
Yeah, there was a Star Trek episode where they found this this planet it was going to blow up, and so you step through this portal to go anywhere in time you wanted to, so they would step into it, so I'm thinking it's kind of like that.
Yeah, like if anybody after the show or whatever go back to that other one, that's interesting, is interested in any of my glyphs or whatever, or even just chatting or whatever, feel free, just get a hold of me on Facebook or something, but because you can only go over so many, and it's just like
okay, so this is
you can't really get deep into any of it, but I'll tell you basically what this is.
Okay.
Remember I told you that clan members have different signatures, that like A was for RE.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
H is his daughter, Raja Say. So can you see how that is a combo signature glyph is what I would call that. That's just my own name for it. Can you see the H and the A?
I can.
You can't?
I can. Yes, I can.
Oh, you can?
Oh, I can't. Oh, yes, I can. Here's the H. Can you see my telestrator?
Right. Yep, absolutely. And then the bigger one to the right, and whatever the main stick, it makes most of the A. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. HA, that's an HA combo glyph, Raja Say.
Love those combos.
What?
I love those combos.
Yep, I love those combos.
Well, in other words, this is another forest tweet from a Sasquatch.
Oh, but I want to make one. I want to make one thing real clear before Sasquatch has her say.
Yeah.
This is my understanding of them. They personalize them. Like I said, they read and place thoughts in your head. They know that I think the A means RE. So once they get that connection with me, they go forward in their messages with A being RE, H being Raja Say, the open triangle over top, roof of protection. Whatever the symbols mean to me, they customize them to me. So if somebody asks me, what do they mean? I don't know. What do they mean to you?
Okay, so if you're out there with Sue, does she get these customized text messages from the Sasquatch?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Yes, she does.
So I'm going to start looking for
them.
them.
In fact, she said, I wish you would leave me a tent glyph. And we'll talk about the tent story in a bit. I wish you would leave me a tent glyph or whatever. And then she'd come back down the trail or whatever. And or I missed the tent glyph she used to leave me, is what she said specifically. And then she would come back down the trail shortly thereafter, and there would be a tent glyph there. Well,
I'll tell you what, if I'm out there and I see a loaded Starbucks card, I know they're talking to me. Here's Johnny from YouTube asks, do Sasquatches suffer from gender dysphoria?
I've got no idea what that is. What's gender dysphoria?
Well, I think it's where a male Sasquatch thinks he's a female, starts wearing dresses, and then maybe a female, takes some hormones, thinks she's a male. But I mean, We have actually discussed on this program with another Bigfoot person about lesbian Sasquatches. So they could have, gender dysphoria is confusion of what gender they really are. Now, but you specifically said you felt female vibes coming from interaction. So I don't think they have that.
I've connected energetically with a young juvenile, and he had like a young, mischievous juvenile energy to him.
Ooh.
I connected with the female. She had a soft, loving, motherly, gentle energy,
Mm-hmm.
and two males, and one was like, "Back off, dude!" Like, whoa, and one was another, "Back off a little less."
Well, I'll tell you what, if they're
very different.
If they're female juveniles, we got to keep Joe Biden out of the forest. All right, now look at this thing here. If I came across I just said that. If I came across this in the forest, Brian Bland, I would be seriously thinking about heading the other way, because that doesn't look like a good call out. It's like don't cross here, or something terrible is going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a universal asterisk.
Okay.
All one, all connected.
And you're saying that thing was just out in the forest and nobody put it there, except
Yeah.
Sasquatch. Wow.
They absolutely put it there. I just don't find a couple things and then jump to silly conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding these kind of things all the time, and there's lots of stories where they were there one day, they were the next. I mean, it's undeniable to me. But yeah, they put it there for sure.
Wow. Okay, so when you run into this area, is it typical that if you see something like this, and this is pretty massive scale, would you say your antenna is up and you start looking for other things and you see a lot of things? I mean, or is there a lot of activity when you see this in that area? Or is it just a simple random act, and then you may not see something for miles?
As soon as I started going in, because they called me. They called me, and I was walking my dogs, and I got a call to the mountains, like a feeling.
Wow.
You've got to go. You've got to come into the mountains. Something was calling me, and then I'm sure you probably had something like that happen, or whatever, like that kind of. Have you?
Like something calling me in the forest?
Well, just a calling that you got to go somewhere, you got to do something, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
or an energy, like.
I do know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you haven't experienced it, you don't really know what it's hard to explain. Kind of like love. If you haven't experienced love, you can't really describe it. It's energy too, right?
Yeah,
but it's physical and whatever too. And this is actually like that too. Right?
I would call it like an unction. An unction. You're compelled to do something. No, I totally understand now. I'm sure that's happened. Let's get to a quick question. We'll go to the next picture. Do Sasquatches dislike dogs?
No, they love my little dogs. They love my little dogs. My dogs would they'd see them, because dogs are more in tune with them or whatever. They know they're there more than we will. And my dogs would just two little chihuahuas would just stand there looking into the woods, just stop all of a sudden and wagging their tail and not even barking generally.
Hey, Sasquatches aren't the ones making crop circles, are they?
As far as I know.
All right, we have another picture. Now, this type of picture, or a symbol, or however you want to describe it, it seems to almost be common. It's sort of I can see an A there, I can see an X there. I mean, again, you're just saying you're walking along, you look down, and you see this.
There's a really amazing story to this, but it's quite long. I don't know how long we have.
We have about 25 minutes, so I'm trying to move these pictures along. So, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Maybe we can. Well, this one's pretty long, man, and maybe we can leave it for another time if you want.
Good. If you feel like it's worth it and you want to get this story out, go for it.
But I will tell you generally what it was about. But there were two amazing stories, like one of 3 gift rocks that were gifted to me over a 3-year period, with mind speak and whatever involved, and actually just unbelievable. I can show you the pictures of them sometime. And then there were these 3 glyphs, and this one lady was connected into both stories, because she showed my girlfriend a glyph that was much like this one, except it didn't have the A signature on it. Okay, so take the A away and the X or whatever, just the stick with the kind of the asterisk kind of thing up top. She showed my girlfriend, and my girlfriend said, I'll talk to Brian. He knows a little bit about these. Maybe he can give you some insight into them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady knew that something was going on, but she didn't. She was just new at it. She didn't really know a lot about. Didn't know anything about glyphs, I don't think. So she showed me, and then I went out the next day and found the identical glyph.
Wow.
But the thing was, it's like I've seen tens of thousands of glyphs, but I had never seen one exactly like this. But once again, I was drawn to where they wanted me to go, and there it was. So when I showed that lady, she was drawn in right away. She knew it was real. She knew everything was valid and validated, because that glyph, showing her that glyph, showed her that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So about a year later, we went to her place, and her boyfriends and her husband and wife now, and then Sue and I were there, and we're walking in her backyard up a path, and she has a lot of activity around there. And actually, after the initial glyph, then they started connecting with her through glyphs and leaving a lot of glyphs at her place. So they started working with her through glyphs too, which also makes sense. So we're walking along the path, and then we see this one. And it's the same thing, except it's signed by A.
Wow.
Which means that was us. We set it up. We set you up. We connected you. And here's your confirmation.
Wow. Quick question. Have you, now you're up in there in British Columbia, have you been to other parts of North America to encounter big feet?
Well,
do you mainly just encounter them in British Columbia, or do you travel around at all?
You know, my girlfriend lived in Oregon, and I had friends in Washington or whatever. So I've done a lot of traveling and camping in Washington and Oregon, and I found the same glyphs and the same activity. Like they were there 1 minute and then totally changed like a couple minutes later, or right before my eyes even, or so the same thing was going on in different areas. So if people are asking if it was like people doing it, absolutely not. No.
Have you ever left a gift for a Sasquatch, or have they ever left one for you?
Absolutely. They left me those 3 stones. I wish I could show you them. That's just a beautiful story. And they left a bunch of other stones and other gifts for me. And yeah, I left them like food and gifts. Yeah, they've also left me feathers and stuff too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've left a lot of gifts with them.
Okay, now I got one up here. This looks like a smiley face. Is that right?
Yep. And they got a sense of humor, man.
All right. What's this right here?
Okay, like I said that they can come to your house or whatever. Remember I said they can follow you anywhere you want to go? Or
appear in your bedroom, like you said.
Yep, exactly. Well, they left this right on the asphalt, right outside of my townhouse, right in the middle of town. Now, those sticks that you see there,
yeah,
you know, there were like a dozen units or something, and it wasn't a big place or whatever, but a dozen units in the big asphalt area. There were no other sticks like this in the area. And even if there were, you know, I mean, even you guys with this the limited amount of progression I've brought you along with now, you can see that that's an XA, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was left right at my place. So they came to my place and left that. Welcome, friendship. We love you. We love you. Love you, dude. You know.
Man, I didn't get none. I feel cheated.
Getting a lot of love here, right?
Somebody asked, can they ever write in English, or could you leave a message in English for them?
Yeah. Yeah, and when they talk to you in Mindspeak, they talk to you in English. Right?
Yeah, right.
But
Absolutely.
I've also heard them talk their language, in their language, and it kind of sounds like the Ron Moorhead stuff. It doesn't sound anything like English.
Now, we have a couple people that have sort of a darker view of the Squatch, and they ask this question: Are the Bigfoots planning an invasion of the human race?
All I can tell you is I've never had anything but positive, absolutely positive, loving relationships with them. I've never even sensed something negative in relation, you know, with me and them. So no, I would say no.
Now, and to your point about leaving things, I just remembered that we have a dog, and this dog takes various items and creates artwork with it. And sometimes the dog will put I'm not kidding. Sometimes it's like in a circle, sometimes like in a square, sometimes around. I mean, it's like it is trying to express some artwork with various items at its disposal. So maybe that's an innate ability of animals to communicate with humans.
Are you serious? Your dog is trying to?
Yeah, I'm
You talking
serious.
about your dog?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
His name's Orbit. We call him. His name's Orbit, and we call him the Orbinator.
Okay.
Yeah, long time.
He's
He's
an intelligent dog, then.
very creative dog. Yeah, he's trying to say something. We're trying to figure out what it is. Okay, what do we got here? Is this a love note from the female Squatch?
No, it's for my girlfriend and I. That little symbol there, the little oval thing represents us.
It's a bit suggestive, though. I gotta say. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
And then the little leaf is just a little creative touch. No, it's it doesn't mean what we can't assume that it means the same for us as what it means for them, right?
Well, when you see that, do you obviously you took a photograph evidence of it? I mean, do you take that? I mean, do you take it with you because it's a
no?
Maybe
I never touch their stuff. I never even change anything, or I've never even taken a twig or anything off to change it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to leave it all original.
How big can Bigfooters get?
Can Sasquatch get?
Yeah. How big?
How big can they get?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard I don't know. I know we got one about 15 feet up in my area. That's the biggest one I know of.
Wow, that's a big Squatch now, Brian.
But but some guys say there's bigger ones. I mean, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking from my experience, and then sometimes you can cross-reference people when the stories are so similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see the same thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just another. I'm not really even sure what that one means. I guess the friendship welcome thing there, but it was just a beautiful one I found on the street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you flip that around by any chance?
Split it around. What do you mean?
Flip it around the opposite.
No, actually, no. I when you sent that, I thought, well, you must have got that picture upside down, so I just flipped it around. But I can't do it live. So what are we looking at?
Oh, okay. Well, you flipped her, but okay. Well, whatever. I
mean, it looks like a tree, so it seems like that's where the tree ought to be. I don't know.
No, I wanted it the other way, but that's fine. Okay. So anyway, we're just barely scratching the surface on this stuff, but whatever. But I mean, it'll give you another little insight into something that they do with the glyphs or whatever, and into their general loving nature, at least in regards to my interaction with them. So the night previous, Susan and I were in a tent, or sitting in front of our tent, and she heard to her left, maybe 15 yards to the left, some heavy breathing in the brush. Like really heavy breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And, she said, that's force. Now, I don't know why she said that, but sometimes you just seem to, she thought it was force for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to question it. Now, it probably was because I learned to trust that. So it very well could have been force. And he kind of does that kind of stuff anyway. But anyway, she thought it was. But in any event, she heard some heavy breathing in the bush to our left. And it was late at night, and we're just sitting there. No fire was allowed. There was a fire ban, so we couldn't see. And my hearing is not the best. I'm kind of hearing impaired, so I didn't hear anything. But, she definitely did. So we went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days...
Uh-oh. Ship to shore. We lost Brian here. Let's see what happened here. Let's see what we got. What would he got here? See what happened to Brian here. I think we lost our connection with him. Poor network connection reconnecting. All right, let's see if we can get him back on. Reconnecting poor network connection. Well, now we're all the way connecting all the way up to British Columbia. Sasquatch could have chewed through the line here. See if we can get him back on the line. Okay. All right. Let's try it again here. Trying to get Brian back. I think we lost our complete connection here. Well, he is online. Here, let's try one more time. Could have lost power. That's true. Amazing technology, dial some of it in British Columbia. Uh-oh. Could be the end. I may have to do the rest of the drawings myself. Uh-oh. Brian is unavailable. Well, what happened there? Alrighty, I've had these other pictures here. I think I can go through them here. All right, let's give him one more call. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. That could be the end of Brian for the evening here. It looks like a pretty solid 8 connecting. Okay. Let's see here. And that thing is ringing and it's aggravating me now, so I'm going to turn it off. Alrighty. It does show him online, so I'm not sure. So I'm going to answer the questions here. What it do says, are Bigfoot the worker class of the Anunnaki? Of course. They're actually they do the heavy lifting for the Anunnaki. I do believe they're probably on Planet X heading this way. There's going to be a whole crop of your Bigfoot down over there. Come on, I tell you what, though, I was pretty interested in the fact he was saying that there are 6-inch Bigfoots. Man, I mean we've broke ground here. I mean we got, this isn't your average Bigfoot story. And actually it appears to be some sort of love story going on here with the Bigfoot here. But let's get since I have all the pictures here. There is one I'd like to see, though. Not that one. Not that one. This one here, SB. We talked about that one. Now, this is interesting right here. Okay. Now, one would think, hey, it's just quite coincidental. But you notice the interesting, the broken tree, which apparently looks like a rotted tree. But look at the formation. It's got that same kind of symbol right in the middle of it. And that's pretty awesome stuff right there. Like I told Brian, I said, you know, I don't deal with no fairies. I don't deal with the fairy Sasquatch. Okay, now if you know, no offense, but look, there it is again. Okay, you know when I'm wait a minute, wait, hang on. Hello, Brian.
Sorry, man. We had a power blank or whatever the heck you call that.
Wow.
Sorry, man. Hey, can you go back to that picture?
Huh?
That was an important story.
Which one you want? I was telling your story for you, man. Glad to have you back, Brian Bland. What we got here?
Oh, you don't want to do the tent one?
Yeah, I'll do the tent one.
Here, back to that tent one because it's a cool story. I'll go over it quickly.
Okay, right here. Is this?
No. Oh.
Back.
Where was that one? No.
Back.
The one behind the tree. The one behind the tree that we were talking about that you flipped around.
Okay. Go back to the tree. Okay. All right. Let me go back. See, that's what I say. We're not getting through these.
There we go.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, Sue heard him outside the door. I mean, outside in the bush on the left-hand side. We wake up the next morning, and I'm in those days, I'm scouring everywhere around for glyphs. I never had my face off the ground in those days looking for glyphs. I was obsessed with them. So that glyph, 100% was not there. Stake my life on it, was not there. This tree is 10 feet in front of our tent. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at it, and unfortunately it's upside down, but try to imagine there is a tent there. You can even see the tent floor. Mm-hmm. And beyond the floor, like we're looking at it upside down, right? Beyond the floor are the tent pegs, okay?
Yeah.
And my girlfriend said, wow, they even know about how to construct a tent. So there's the tent, there's the floor, there's the tent pegs, there's even the welcome friendship packs that they always put all of their glyphs.
Yeah, now, I see that.
Look, there's the floor right there where you just did. Yeah. Now look at the 2 little sticks inside there. There's Sue and I sleeping.
Oh, right here?
Just above the floor.
Wow.
See the 2 little sticks?
I see that.
That's her and I. Look at the big stick to the left of me anyway. on the screen,
Okay.
outside of the tent. See the big stick there?
Big stick. Are you talking about this thing
Yeah.
here?
No. It way smaller.
Here?
Underneath your yeah. See the big stick?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like the other one, but it's a little bigger. Well, the guy, Forshna, or whoever that was exactly what he saw. There he is in the bush watching us in our tent sleeping.
Oh.
And
Well,
there's
yeah.
our tent.
Hopefully you were sleeping.
There it is. It's all drawn out for us. And he was just letting us know that he was there watching us. And when Sue saw that, she was always like, loved the glyphs. But when she saw that one, it was like, okay, this is some damn serious stuff. That's pretty cool. She was blown away, yeah.
She's a believer.
Oh, of course. This is an absolute direct, or exact replica of what he saw.
Hmm.
And they've done that more than one time. They will draw
Wow.
what they see as doing
Mhm.
in form or something.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, that's interesting. Like I said earlier, Brian, I'm going to be looking at the forest floor a whole lot different.
Yeah, and keep track of what you see, and then start recognizing patterns and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And somebody asked this question. I think we kind of brushed over it a little bit, but do Bigfoots use portals? Are they interdimensional? I think basically we think they are, right?
I think I would say so.
Okay, what do we got here?
I don't know how functional they are, because a lot of them are pretty small, but some of them are huge. But these are these little structures that they make, and this is around a play area where a lot of kids hang out. We see, in this area, we see a lot of tracks, a lot of glyphs, a lot of evidence of them all over here. And every year at the same time, they seem to come back and make a bunch of structures and stuff.
Not to get personal, but if the Bigfoot know that you and Susan's in the tent, I mean, do they give you some space, or
do they know what?
Do they give you some space?
Well, they connected us, so they're kind of like family. So I mean, we don't think of them as like, are they watching in, you mean, or whatever?
Well, yeah, I mean, if things get personal in there and stuff, I mean, do they know that and back off a little bit, or are they peeping toms?
I don't know, but you know what? They would look at it from a different perspective. They would look at it from the perspective of love, from a positive perspective.
That is about as tactful as I get. Usually, I'm not that tactful.
No,
okay,
but they knowing them,
yeah,
they would not look at that from our perspective of, they're doing the down and dirty or whatever. They would look at it from the heart, loving perspective. That's the kind of people
they're all about love. I'm liking them more all the time now, man. Is this a Sasquatch lair?
Yeah. They make all kinds of stuff up in my area, and I've seen it in other places too. Actually, around where Sue lives now, we've seen some, but it's not that far from me because she's just over the border. So could even be the same clan, different family. Yeah. Okay, this was a housewarming gift.
Wow.
That they left her 2 days after she moved into her latest place up by the border here, and what happened was actually she was at a camp out. Let me back up just a little bit. They leave the same kind of things and do the same kind of things with people for some reason. If they tend to tap you or something, or touch you, or do a certain thing, or connect with you in a certain way, they seem to stick with that, and they do different things with different people. If there's a list of maybe 10 things that they commonly do, you might have 3 in common with one person, 6 with another one, but they mix it all up, right? Kind of, and as far as the teaching angle of that goes, they will do it in whatever way that they feel they can reach you the best. But in any event, Sue was at a camp out in Northern California, and they at her camp, at her tent flap door, they left her a little hide doll that they left. A little doll, yeah. A little doll that they left her as a gift at her front door. So it's connected to this only in the fact that it's a doll too, right?
Yeah.
So she moved in to the place where I am right now currently, and where she had just moved, and it was only a few days in here, and I think, I was here too. But anyway, she had just walked out of the kitchen, and there's a little a mat on the kitchen, by the sink or whatever, like most people have, and I think she had walked outside or something, and came back, and this was on the mat when she came back, and it had not been there, you know, when she went out. I mean, because it was placed right dead center. It was really obvious, and plus it was and it looked like dried grass or weeds or something, but it was also moist. Like it had previously been dry, but it was moist, as if it had just been brought in from outside, right? Okay. Wow. So, yeah, that was like a housewarming gift. And actually, they left her a glyph just about a week ago, and there's a picture of it here somewhere, but right by her front door.
All I got was a rock, man. They don't give me gifts like that.
That one. They left that right by her front door. That's absolutely no doubt that was them. And actually, there's a bigger picture where you can see the front. Oh, that's the one. That's the one where I said that they etched in the sand, part stick and part etch. So that was it initially, when, you know, the AX, when we initially saw it. And then the next time we came back an hour later, the next picture. Yeah. The next picture, it's smoothed over, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, those sticks didn't fall on the ground and make an etch. We talked about this one right here. This is English right here, man, if they're out there doing that. I mentioned this right here while we were trying to reconnect with you on Skype, but this looks like the same sort of symbol in the middle of this, a sort of A-looking thing.
Yeah. And look over to the right. You see the. I got to get my verticals and horizontals right. Vertical is upright. Okay, so the horizontal piece, the cross piece.
Yeah.
It's at it's at like the 2 o'clock angle, but you see how it's crossed?
Yeah.
That's forming the A or whatever. You see that?
Yeah.
Look just below it. Halfway up, and there's a little peel piece that's propped up on it. See that?
Okay, I see it.
That was, I mean, look at that, man. That's propped up there.
What I'm looking at,
and it's peeled away from the main structure down below. I mean, that is hand placed.
What I'm looking at is this right here. This looks like a squatch in the background, man.
Could be.
Just go with me, man.
No, it could be. It could be. Yeah. You know what? I know I've had them show up in some pictures. I've got some pictures of them.
Yeah. All right. Let's.
But
here's a design there. Now there's that symbol again.
That was propped up in the snow. Yeah. Yeah.
Very creative.
That other picture looked kind of funky, didn't it?
Yeah. Very creative. What's this smoky picture here? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, they got big energy and whatever in the forest, and a loving kind of spiritual energy, like I said, and sometimes I go in there and I'll just be reduced to tears. It's so strong.
Wow.
And, well, there's the big dude right there. Look at him. Can you see him over to the left?
Wait a minute now.
Big face.
Are you saying the kind of the smoky thing there?
Well, look at it. Doesn't it look like a big face?
It does. That's not a lens capture?
Well, man, I've had too many of those strange things, I mean, I guess it could be, but I mean, look at it. You can kind of have... I can kind of feel it too, but that's a different story. But wow. I don't know. Doesn't it look like a face to you?
Yeah, you're talking about this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you saying that was like
not quite that wide?
That was elevated in the forest, or that's part of a lens flare? Or is that a Sasquatch materializing? That could be it there.
Well, you know what? I've got some pictures of RE. Where Sue and I were hamming it up by the creek there, by the sand there, where I showed you some of those pictures and whatever. And we're doing like a selfie or whatever. And he showed up in the smoke, like smiling with a big grin, like a big ham and whatever. And his face kind of looked like that. So they could do that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that's him, but
yeah, I tell you what, they start showing up in smoke. I'm thinking demon, man.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's understanding energy. Energy.
Yeah.
Energy is, like shape-shifting or whatever is just making energy into a different form or whatever, right?
I'll tell you what, though.
They have a complex understanding of it.
I am definitely going to be looking at things different. It does seem to be almost a. Here's what I want to look. Is this suggesting a Bigfoot lives in here?
No, I don't think they live in there.
They just made it for artwork.
That's in the play area again. I don't know exactly why they do that.
Okay.
Sometimes, I can't, yeah.
There's another footprint there, the Squatch.
Yep.
Now here's what is this like a house looking thing here?
Well, it's like a tic-tac-toe kind of thing.
And if you take a rock, you can play a game with him. So would you have to place the rock?
Oh,
on there.
Would I have to what?
Would you? Could you like say play tic-tac-toe with him and say like place a rock there, and then he would come over and put a rock there, maybe a stick. I mean, could you do that? Uh-oh. Oh, we lost our connection again. I was playing tic-tac-toe here. Hang on, let me finish up here. Dun, 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 dun. Wait a minute. I'm going to beat the Squatch here. Boom! Just beat the Squatch and toe. Tic-tac-toe. We lost our guest here. We get about into the broadcast here. Let's see if we can get him back on one more time. I said last time he lost power. Let's see if we can get back here. Last time I thought the Sasquatch chewed through the wires.
It could have been.
Well, I'll tell you what. Okay, so let's kind of wrap this thing up here, Brian Bland from British Columbia. You suggest that we need to have a network of interspecies communication set up. Now, how do you see that playing out?
Well, I don't think I said that.
Well, your title says that. It says Sasquatch Encounters Network of Interspecies Communication. I'm just playing off of that.
That's not my website, though.
Oh, okay. Well, whose is it?
It's a guy called Sunbow.
Do I need to get Sunbow on the show?
Yeah, he'd be a good guy to have on, man, for sure.
Okay.
But no, that's not my. Yeah, that's
okay.
Okay, that's why I didn't understand it. That's not actually my my website. But I mean,
well, that's where I grabbed your stuff from, anyway.
Oh, okay. Well.
Okay. But you've been communicating with him, whether that guy is or not. You've been communicating with him. What's the best way for us to communicate with him?
Well, respect, an open heart. Intent and whatever. I mean, because they're going to read your intent. If you're out there trying to profit from them or shoot them or.
Oh, now I'm not going to shoot them.
They're going to know. So you're wasting your time out there if you're doing that.
Let me ask you, talk about communication. Is it true that you can take a log and hit a log against a tree to attract a Bigfoot?
That doesn't work too much. It has worked. I mean, I've done that. It has worked. Mm-hmm. They have answered me with a knock when I poured my head out to them, like an immediate, resounding knock, like we heard you and stuff. Yeah, generally, I mean, sometimes, once in a while, yeah, they will knock back whenever you can get that kind of thing going. And I have had a rock throwing fights with a young guy a couple of times that I initiated, and we got it going back and forth and whatever kind of thing. But it's unpredictable. But as far as your question was how do you? I would suggest if somebody, first of all, go in there with an open heart and don't go in there with bad intent, because they're not going to connect with you. Period. But if you are of pure intention or whatever, and you want to connect with them, I would suggest one thing that I did. If you're in an area where you know they are, design, like I did this actually too. Oh yeah, that's another great story. Geez, so many great stories come to mind. That was amazing. Oh boy. But anyway, design your own glyph.
Okay.
Sticks and peel the sticks so that they stand out or whatever. And if your name is Barney or something, just make it B or something. Whatever, it doesn't really matter what it is, but let the Sasquatch know this is me. I'm Barney. This is my signature. Leave it in a place where you've had interaction or where you think they are, like as a gift or whatever, and then see if they change it around or start interacting with you. And I've actually suggested that to 3 or 4 people, and it's actually happened. So it can happen.
Well, see, you had a S and a B, so I'm wondering if I go out there would be a S and a D for my Susan and Daniel.
Well, I mean, if you went out in the woods and well, sure. I mean, if they wanted, I mean, it could be, yeah. If that's how they wanted, they interact with everybody differently. Like, so. They're very, very unique in that way. Nobody gets exactly the same thing. Like I said, if there's 10 tendencies how they connect, like mind speak, thought placement, glyphs, physical interaction or whatever, like you'll have in common maybe 5 or 6 with somebody and 3 with another person, 4, but they work with you according to your strengths, though, in my opinion.
All right. Well, Brian Bland from British Columbia, I appreciate you coming on the Edge television program. Any final thoughts?
No, just thanks for having me on, and so many great stories. Just it's funny, you think you're talking for an hour and a half or a couple hours or whatever, and it goes by so fast, and you don't really get to say hardly anything you wanted to say. But we said enough to at least spark some interest, I suppose.
Okay. Well, we'll try to have you back on the show. How's that sound?
Love to.
Okay. Brian Bland, I appreciate you coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right.